The fishing channel.
Oh, we're
live here now too. Okay, so this channel is currently known as the Fishing Channel. In either of the chats, either on Instagram or on the YouTube or Facebook. Why is my sleeve looking all jacked up? You have to name one of the previous names of this channel. This channel goes back a little ways.
There's been 2, 3.
I think 3.
3 names that the Fishing Channel, obviously it's called the Fishing Channel now. But then what were the 2 previous names? The Fishing Channel
if you can come up with any of those. What's going on, Rodney? How are you, sir?
Rodney got it.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, yeah, no.
He didn't.
Oh, he just mentioned you. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Be nice.
You can name any of the previous names. It is accessible. I'll give them that.
I wore the hat a couple of times.
Yeah.
It had a really cool animal on it.
If you go early back on the channel,
you can go back.
Crazy Horse Fishing Hour.
Oh.
That's not quite Eddie, but you're real close. You're real close.
That is close.
That was part that we did have. I did have a segment called the Crazy Horse Fishing Hour, but not quite. So whoever answers that question correctly, we're going to send them some half-ounce jigs.
That's a cool deal.
All right.
Yep. Are we mentioning why we're doing this right now? I think.
Tim is here now.
Okay.
All right. So at any point during the show, if you answer that question, you get. We'll send you some jig heads. But our guest is here now.
We'll just do it together. We're already here.
We want to bring him in.
Yeah. Let's see.
See how this works. My friend, how are you, NCPIERMAN?
I'm doing better if this internet connection will hold.
It sounds great. It looks great. Yeah, all thing you got to do is turn your phone sideways. Look at that.
Oh, I can see you.
Now you look like you're in Hollywood.
I love that shirt. That's an awesome shirt you got on there.
Yeah, trying to kill bear, but we ain't having no luck.
So the messages you send me about bear are very confusing. You've got a couple of them that you love that you would never lay a finger on, and then you got some that you want to kill.
Oh yes. When they eat my cameras all the time, yep, time to go.
Time to go.
I average losing about 10 cameras a year to a bear eating them.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot.
Yeah, $100 a camera. They're not cheap.
They're trail cameras, right?
Yes.
Well,
I go through a lot of them.
How you been?
I've been doing good. Actually, I got out on the water here last weekend, I think it was, and had fun putting the smackdown on some trout.
Nice. For those of you that don't know NCPIERMAN, he's in the group that many of you guys are in, and that he struggles mightily this time of year with whether he's going hunting or whether he's going fishing.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
Yeah. With us, it's fishing or sleeping in and then fishing, but it's always ends up being fishing at some point.
Which is ridiculous because we have like two fully set up compound bows over there, and we just never do it. We always go fishing.
I came close. I went to an event where I got to use it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, see, my problem is I do most of my hunts are done with a veteran. So I have 90% of what I do up here is nothing but vets and first responders and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to set them up and then not be here for them.
Yeah. So let's talk about what you do for the vets, Tim.
There's not much I don't do for them, from hunting to fishing. I mean, any chance I can get to get them on the water or in the woods, they're first. Kayak fishing, if and when my boat's on the water, I take them on the water. I have a vet up here right now that she's up here for a whole week trying to hunt down bear.
Nice.
She's been here. This is the 6th year that she's been here, and 6 years she's been trying to harvest one of these bear I have up here.
Wow. Rodney, that sounds like a terrible idea, my friend.
Trout jerky.
Trout jerky.
Trout jerky.
Trout jerky. Trout jerky is actually really good.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Right on.
It sounded like something.
Some of that.
It sounded like something that would get someone really sick, but I stand corrected.
He's still alive.
No, trout jerky is actually really good, and it's always smoked trout. Smoked trout's even better yet.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that for sure. So you just got on the water. You said last week for trout. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I didn't get more than, I'd say, half a mile on the body water I fish, and I was just about limited out already. My smallest fish was 19. My biggest one was 21, and I lost 2 that were close to, I would probably say, close to 24, 25 inches.
Right on.
I like that sound.
He knows his waters. There's no playing with Tim here. He knows his fish. He knows his waters.
Yeah.
Right on.
I mean, you limited it out in what, a couple hundred yards. What was your?
I was throwing the Rapala X-Rap XR8 in ghost color, and the tide was actually an incoming tide at that point, so I had to fish it a little bit different than I normally do, because I'm used to fishing it one way. When usually I fish an outgoing tide. Now I'm on an incoming tide, so I have to actually work my lure a little bit different than I do on an outgoing tide. But it's just a twitch, pause, let it sit, let it ride with the current, let the current keep it down under the water, and wait for that thump. As soon as you feel that thump, you set that hook, and whatever hit it, usually there. Usually this time of the year, it's a lot of the trout are starting up. They're starting to fill in the waters. Drummer here as well, they're starting to school up in big schools, and as you know, you get those areas where they like to hang. You can catch them nonstop in those holes.
Yeah. And that is my confidence bait. I love that thing.
That's usually what I use to start finding them, and then I switch up and I go to my MR 17 RT colors.
Yeah.
There's 2 different ones. You got a shallow water and you got a deep water. They're both MR17s, but one's heavier than the other. And they're the same thing. It's just throw it, let it ride with the current, light twitch it every now and then, 2 or 3 times, and let it keep drifting.
So we have about, and sorry to interrupt you, we have about 10 people in here right now. So it's a great time to talk about question of the night and prize.
Yes.
You want to do that for us, co-host?
Yes, co-host. So our sponsor, Hook Optics, has been really generous in allowing us to offer $25 off a purchase of any of their Hook Optics glasses. So, I mention usually that I really enjoy that they have women's glasses. I have 2 pair. So that is the Morley Rose Gold, very feminine, but what's even more important is that all Hook Optic glasses are polarized. So it's easier to see the fish and easier to see everything when you're out on the water and you have the sun reflecting off the water. You just have a lot of visual blockage when you're fishing, and these help with them greatly.
So I've owned their competitive brands, and I'm not going to say any names. I mean, some of them may rhyme with Mosta.
Oh my gosh.
Or Nifs or Mosta. And guys, like the first time I picked these up, the biggest thing that jumped out at me was how smooth the hinges were on the frames. I mean, they're just really high quality. As soon as you put them on, the lenses are. Bob Pino, one of the founders of this company, when he first met me, he said they were holy beep, and he actually said beep. He doesn't use that
really
word.
Curse. Yeah.
He's like, these are holy beep glasses when you put them on. I'm like, so what? You're trying to sell them to me, and I put them on, and I also said holy beep.
Yes. What I appreciate about Hook Optics too, they are a dynamic duo. So Nikki Pino and Robert Pino work together really hard to bring us these amazing glasses. So definitely recommend them. But you have to ask a question to get the $25 off. How easy is that? Just ask a question.
Do we count questions? Not, I mean, because we got, you know what, for CL, I'll count your non-fishing question, my man, because that's how much I care about you, dude. So CL Marshall from Tangier Sound Charters asks, is deer still rutting down there?
Good question.
Depends on where.
Uh-oh. Gets really specific then.
Yes. They're done. Lenoir County, where I'm at, they didn't even really rut this year. Usually we get about a week of what they call a pre-rut, and then they go into a full rut, which is usually about 3 days long. We had the cold snap come in. They started the rut. We ended up having one 9-point buck taken that was already full in rut. And then the next day it warmed up and it shut the rut down. There's supposed to be a secondary rut, which we haven't seen no activity on that yet at all. I literally just checked cameras today. I've got one field here. I've got 15 deer showing up in the field, and there's 5 different bucks. But we're not seeing them in the daytime at all.
You know, maybe we should call this make the F stand for fishing or field, right? And we can do a multiple outdoor genre thing. Well, you know, that doesn't make sense to me that the cold weather would have broken the rut, because isn't that kind of what you want to do when it's cold?
Oh my goodness.
The deer kind of warm each other up a little bit.
It's not that the cold. It's not that the cold shut it down. The warmer weather the next day shut it down.
Ah, got it. Yeah.
The cold, usually the first or the second cold snap that we get starts to rut.
Yeah, I don't like to rut in the warm weather either.
All righty.
No, neither do I. It's a little sweaty.
We're keeping it G.
Rodney, what's up, buddy? He says, you want? I don't want to talk the whole time.
All right.
Me? As far as me?
Just for everyone on Instagram, so you know what the question is. Do you prefer to fish a sunny or cloudy day?
Me, the worst day is the best day. Cloudy, overcast, windy, rainy, you'll find me on the water catching trout. My red drum, when I fish for red drum, I'll fish either day. But technically, well, not technically, but typically with me, I have better days on overcast days than I do on sunny days.
Why do you think that is?
Well, for one, the light, you have a sunny day, calm waters, everything is noticeable. You know, whether you're fishing from a boat or you're fishing from a kayak, when you throw your line in that water, that calm water is going to ripple, lets them know that something's there. But your line going across the water is also going to let them know that it may be attached to something, like it's a trick. There's different reasons for different lines and all this other stuff. It's a long, drawn-out history on it, but your overcast days are going to change the color of your lures in the water as well. Right. They're not going to be as bright and as vibrant as they normally are. It might be a pink lure that you're using on an overcast day. It might be looking red in the water instead of pink, because the sunlight isn't getting to that lure and making it shine like it normally would.
Right.
Even like using spoons, you're still getting a shine, but you're not getting as bright of a shine from it. So there's a lot of different variations as far as sunny days and overcast days.
Yeah.
And those trout that you're catching now, that's going to be a good bite all the way up until, you know, February, March, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the things I always tell my my friends up here in the Delmarva region is, you know, that area where you live is really only like 5 hours away from here, and you can go down there and get on some really good speckled trout action.
Yeah, especially if you have a kayak and you hang out with NCPIERMAN.
All right. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that now. Guys, if you want to get out of this winter cold up here and get down to some speckled trout down in North Carolina, this is your man to show you those little tiny honey holes that he can pick out of nowhere, and he's got a billion of them stacked in his head. How does someone connect with you in order to book a trip?
Well, there's many ways to get a hold of me. One is through Facebook on NCPIERMAN, or you can call my cell phone at area code 910-581-4287. If I don't answer, leave a message. I kind of screen call, so if I don't get a message, you don't leave a message, you end up in the spam folder.
Yeah.
Understood. Could you give us that phone number one more time for people who are watching?
910-581-4287.
Got it. Well, you got it.
Okay. I wanted to
581-4287. All right, we'll put that up on the screen for everybody. We have another question coming in.
Oh, Robert.
Robert Lombardi. Robert Lombardi, you should go down and fish with NCPIERMAN. John Vale is actually the person who connected me originally with NCPIERMAN quite a while ago. Mm-hmm. But Robert's a big kayak fisherman up here in the Delmarva region. Yeah. And you two guys are a match made in heaven. You guys have a great time fishing together. Yes. But Robert asked, what is the difference on the retrieve of the X-Wrap wraps based on water temperature?
The colder the water, the slower the retrieve. Mm-hmm. The fish are lethargic. The colder that water gets, the slower they bite. They will hammer a lure when it comes past them right in front of them, but they're not going to chase it. They'll follow and kind of judge whether they want to hit it or not. So the slower you go, the more you let the current do the work for you, yes, the better your chances are of getting that fish to hit, because it's going to float with the current at a certain depth. You can pull it a little bit and get it down even further. Once you figure out where they're hanging out, like in the water column itself, just let it drift. You don't have to do anything to it. Just let it drift. It goes past them and they're going to smack it. Right. The warmer the water is, the more they'll want to chase. So you can actually retrieve it a little bit quicker. But my rule of thumb when I'm fishing for trout, especially in cold water or even red, the slower you go, the better your chances of hooking into one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always say, and Tim, I apologize. You've probably heard me tell the story 5 times already, but I remember the first time I went down and I was fishing the Neuse River, which is about a little over an hour from you, right? Mm-hmm. A little hour north, and I was fishing a twitch bait, like a Miradyne, and every time I'd get distracted, I'd look away, and I didn't notice this until I watched the video later. Yep. Right? I'd hear a splash or something, and I'd look away and I'd stop fishing. Yeah. I'd look away and see what that was, and then I'd look back and watch my rod pull. Yeah. And I didn't pick up on it until after I watched the video, that the reason for that was that caused me to fish more slowly. Yeah. So if you think you're fishing slow enough for these trout in the winter, you're not slower.
Nope. That's what I always say. If you think you're going slow enough, go slower.
That's true. Same is true of striped bass. At least for me, striped bass on the bay. Just about all the fish I caught the past 2 times I went out in the past couple of days, slow. Yeah. Slow. Yep. So, yeah.
And you've been hammering some pretty fish.
It's been awesome. We got some good stuff from today too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
Pierman is from Ryan Nix. He says, what about the mud flats around the deep creeks after the sun's up?
I tend to go to, like, say I'm fishing the areas like I had you guys fishing in. I'll go to straightaways and try them in the straightaways. I'll try a slow retrieve at first. If I don't get nothing, then I pick it up a little bit. If I don't get anything on either one, I'm going to go to a corner where there's a deeper pocket. I'm going to throw, if the tide's coming from left to right, I'm going to throw far left, and I'm going to pull it down under, just let it drift with the current down into that hole, so it gets down to where I want it at and where I think the fish are holding at. So with a flat, you kind of want to look for pockets. You want to kind of look for, dips in the bottom and or oyster bed areas with cut throughs on it where there's a current going through. If the areas where you got a current or a backwash into it, you're going to find fish laying in there. You just got to figure out if they want it slow, low, or if they want it slow, middle column, or even up close towards the surface, depending on how deep the water is. I've had trout come up in, say, 5 foot of water fishing on a straightaway, swipe at a lure constantly, not get it, and then turn around, throw a topwater back out, and have them come right up and smash the hell out of the topwater. Excuse my language. It all depends on, you got to let the fish tell you what they want. You have to give it to them, present it to them any way you can. Try and figure out if you're going too deep or going too shallow or how they want it. I don't really watch my rod when I'm fishing areas. I'm watching my line because I'm letting that lure drift.
Yes.
And I'm just giving it little twitches. I could have a 20-yard bow in my line. My line's just sitting on the surface and that lure is just barely under the surface. And if I see the twitch on the line, I'm setting my hook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you, I guess you probably want, and we got to get the question of the night, but you want a highly visible line that's probably going to float a little bit more then, right?
Well, you don't really want one that floats more. A lot of people like to use monofilament or fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon stiff, it's heavier, it sinks better. You don't end up with that big long bow in your line. Monofilament sinks not as much as fluorocarbon does, but it does sink better. The biggest thing is you get that big bow, then you got that issue. You got to make sure when you set that hook that you're getting that line up fast enough and hard enough to get that hook to set in that fish. It's just the way I prefer to fish. I like to be able to see my line so I can actually set it up. Your highly visible lines, yes, you can go with them. It makes it a little bit easier, but you're going to see that line on top. And the problem is you're going to constantly try to catch up that line so you now have that big bow. I leave the bow there.
Got it.
Good point. Great tip too.
Ryan, go ahead.
Oh, Ryan Nix, a true kayak legend. We have to go to question of the evening. But I'd like to say really quick about Tim, not just a great fisherman and a hunter, but just a great person. If you want to fish with someone that you really want to have at least an enjoyable conversation, but NCPIERMAN, he's just got this great spirit about him that I think is magnetic. So definitely sign up to go on a kayak guide fishing tour with him, please.
He's a vet. He's a vet. He's a good man, and he knows that water, guys.
Yeah,
so
I want to sign up now.
So yeah.
Gotta get you back down for some trout now. I had you up for drum, but now I gotta get down for trout.
I'm down, and we should bring some friends. Please. But we are at the point where we got to jump off here in just a couple of minutes. Yes. So let's do.
Oh, so question of the evening. What do you think, Tim? Who's the winner?
Who is the one about the flats?
Oh, it was
Ryan Nix.
That's who I'd say got that one.
Yep, Ryan Nix who said, is it Pierman? What about the mud flats around the deep creeks after the sun's up? Is that the one?
Yes.
All right. Well, Ryan, you won. Congratulations. You won $25 off of a pair of hook optics. These things are amazing.
Yes.
Truly give them a try. Ryan, if you're not in the region, and just go to hookoptics.com, or you can also go to the fishing, actually contact us because we don't have these on the website yet. We will soon.
Yes.
So if you want to buy them through us, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can also go to hookoptics.com. But this is a great pair of glasses, and you'll really enjoy them. NCPIERMAN, any last words?
Fish them low and slow.
Fish them low and slow.
Oh, really quick for Ryan. Contact us at admin@thefishingchannel.net, please, just so we know how to get a hold of you and your address. So admin@thefishingchannel.net.
Exactly. Fish them low and slow. Yeah, when it gets cold, we're gonna, and as it gets more cold, fish even slower, right?
Yeah, that's a t-shirt idea. Tim Space, low and slow.
Right
on. Oh.
All right, everybody, we're gonna be back in 1 minute with the Southwest Florida inshore fishing report. So if you're on this one, just drop off and drop back on. We'll have more amazing prizes. Instagram, same thing. Yes. Tim, thank you so much. You're the man. We love you as always. For having me. Can't wait to talk to you next month.
I appreciate it. Thank you for everything.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Bye.